Alright, so I live by myself, so I'll be doing this video alone, and I'll just be asking questions of like what I would ask if I had a client in front of me. Alright, Mrs. Smith. So I just want to confirm with you that this is Suki, a 2.5-year-old female spayed terrier mix, around 40 pounds. Is that correct? Great. And I see that you brought her in today because she's had some hair loss, her skin is kind of pink, and you noticed some black dots on her. Is that correct? Okay, great. So I'm just gonna set up how the meeting's gonna go today. So the first thing, what I wanna do is to ask you some questions and then perform a physical exam and then go over some diagnostic options and then some treatment options. Does that sound like a plan? Great. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start asking you some questions. So the first thing I'd like to know is, what is the day in the life of Suki? What is her diet like? What type of dog food does she eat? How much does she get? What type of treats does she get? How much does she get? Does she get anything beyond dog food, such as human food or table scraps? What type of medications is Suki on? Is she on flea, tick, and heartworm prevention? What vaccinations has Suki had? Is she up to date? Are there any other animals in the home or that she comes into contact with? What medications and vaccinations do they have? Are those animals, if there are any in the home, experiencing any similar signs as to what Suki has? Has Suki ever had these issues before? Are there any other health issues or any other topics you'd like to discuss today about Suki? Great. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to the physical exam. I'm going to start working from nose to tail and from top to bottom, focusing mainly on today her skin issues. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at her ears. And I'm going to look in her ears, and I'm looking for any discharge, any smell, any redness to them. And then I'm going to palpate the outside of them, feeling for any lumps or bumps or swelling or heat. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a brief listen to her heart and lungs. Great. I'm going to continue on with my physical exam, looking at her skin. We're going to look all over, starting from the very top. I'm going to run my fingers through her hair, making it go the opposite way, and I'm looking at her skin and her coat. I'm looking for anything that I can find, such as dander, fleas, flea dirt, lesions, abrasions, any signs of scratching, any signs of chewing or licking. We're looking for any redness and things like that. So I'm going to look all over. I'm going to come to the tail base, and I'm going to look back here as well. We're looking at the end. I'm going to look on the outside of her thighs, on both sides. I'm also going to look on the inside of her thighs, so right in the underside down here. I'm also going to palpate and look under where her stomach and her thorax are. Again, checking for anything such as dander, flea dirt, abrasions, licking out, hair loss, or anything like that. The last thing I'm going to check is her toes and her paws. And so I'm going to be looking for any hair loss. I'm going to be looking for any chewing, any redness, any lesions or anything like that. Any like dander or skin flakes I can see on her nails where she's been digging. So I'm going to check all 4 of those. All right. Now that I've gone over her physical exam, Mrs. Smith, I would like to go over the findings that I did find on her physical. So the primary thing that I did notice is that she does have fleas. Those black spots that you saw in her at home were most likely fleas and flea dirt. So I did see that, and that could be very contributable to why she has the alopecia or the hair loss on the end here, and the redness from probably the licking and the chewing and things like that. Do you have any questions about that? Okay, so I'd like to go over some diagnostic options. And so the first thing I want to do to confirm that it is fleas is I'd like to take a flea comb, and I would go through and I would scrape just along the hair and the skin, get any potential fleas or any dirt or debris on there. I'll put it on a damp towel and I'll mush it together, and then once I take it off, I can see if there's any blood. It'll show any like tinged blood or any brown, and that will confirm that there are fleas. The second diagnostic test I would like to run today is a skin scraping. And a skin scraping is where we'll take a blade and we'll rub it along the skin. It does not hurt, but it's just to get a little bit deeper into the skin layers, and then I'll go look under the microscope and look for anything such as Demodex, which is a mite, other parasites like lice, and look for anything like a bacterial infection, maybe if there's something going on like that, or something more we need to address just beyond the fleas that I cannot see on the physical exam right now. Do you have any questions about that? Great, we'll go ahead and get that set up and do the diagnostics if that's okay. We'll go ahead and take Suki back. I would like to talk to you also today about a couple things with flea management. And so with flea management, it is very important not to only take the dog into consideration, but other animals in the home and in the environment in your house, and maybe even the backyard. It's a multi-step process, and it does take a few times to get it under control. But along with, once we get the results to confirm that it is fleas, there are some options we can give you, such as preventatives and some shampoo to help her irritated skin. Do you have any questions? Great, we'll go ahead and get Suki set up. We'll go ahead and once we get the results of the diagnostics, we'll go over some more in-depth treatment options and see if you have any questions. We'll be back in a moment. Thank you.